Hello and welcome to the third video for Microsoft Access within ISYS 110. Okay, so today we're going to be working on a lab exercise question called Downtown Internet Cafe Inventory. Okay, this database seems to be consisting of two tables, a stock table and a supplier table. And like the other videos, I'm just going to be going through and answering the questions from the back of the chapter. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've opened up the file, named up here, okay, and it's telling us for the first part of the question that we should open the stock table and view its contents. So yes, we've done that. And it's telling us now to go to the supplier table, and we want to replace the contact name for the supplier Cuppa Joe. Okay, so we just go down and find Cuppa Joe, and the contact person there is Joseph Tan, and we'll just put in my name. Alright, so the second part of the question tells us that we should create a query using the query wizard on the stock table, and we should include all fields with the exception of the item field. Okay, and we should name it low stock. Alright, so if we're going to be creating a query, like always, we go to the Create tab. Alright, and we'll see here that there's the query wizard. So let's click on that. And in this case, we're going to be doing a simple query. Click OK. And it's now prompting us for which table. In this case, we're doing it on the supplier table. No, it's good we reread the question while we're doing this. It's actually the stock table. And we're going to be putting all the fields across with the exception of item. So we'll just move item back. So we have in this query description, stock, special order, and supplier. Let's click next. Click next. And we want to call this query low stock. Click finish. And there we go. So you'll notice here that there's very little difference between the table called stock and the query called low stock, with the exception of the item number missing. But that's okay. We can make some further changes, which I think will happen in the next part of the question. So once we've named that, excuse me, once we've named that query low stock, it tells us now to go into the design view. Okay, so you'll notice down here in the bottom right hand corner there's a button that's called design view, so let's click on that. Alright, and this part of the query tool design will allow us to specify certain criteria within each field. Okay, so in this case, it's telling us to only display values which are in stock that have a value of less than 30. Okay, so you'd imagine that we'd have to go to the stock field listed here, and the criteria we're putting in, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, is less than 30. And that's it. So you can imagine that this query now, unlike before where it was just showing all the items, it's now only going to list items that are less than 30. And this would probably help with the ordering of items that are about to run out of stock. So now that we've done that, we'll just go back to the design tab here in the query tool and click run, and we'll see what happens. And there we go. So there's a lot less items. Before, I think we had 30. We're now only displaying 10. Excellent. So now that we've done that, we have to make probably one more change. It tells us in the question that once we've reviewed this, we've decided that it would be better if we had some supplier details in this query so that we could contact the supplier for ordering. So again, we need to go back to the design view down here in the bottom right hand corner. And what we need to do is we need to add a table. Okay, so we'll click on this button here called Show Table, again in the Query Tools Design tab. So click on Show Table and we'll select Supplier. Click Add and we can close this window. Now you'll notice that these two tables are related, okay, and this will allow us to move any additional fields into this query from the additional table, the supplier table. So in this case it tells us which fields we want. We want the vendor contact name, so we'll drag contact down. We want the phone number and the email address. You can probably imagine now what this is going to look like. It's going to have the stock details as we had before, only displaying items in stock that are less than 30, and also have the supplier name, the phone number and the email address so that we can contact that supplier when stock is running low. So that looks good. Let's rerun the query. And there we go. So exactly right. So we've got the item, how many are left in stock, whether there's any special order requirements, the supplier, the contact of the supplier, the phone number and their email address. Excellent. Now that we've created the query, it's asking us to create a report based on that query. So we'll go to the Create option and we're going to go to Report Wizard. Just click on that. Don't worry about this message, it's just telling us that we need to save the changes we've made to the query. Just click Yes. And like last time, we've got the wizard popping up. Looks very similar to the query wizard, with the exception of probably one or two extra options. Okay, so in this case, just make sure you've got the query low stock selected, because that's what we're running the report on. We want to move every field across. Click Next. Don't worry about this too much, just use it by stock at the moment. Click Next. We don't want to add any groupings, so just click Next. For sorting, we want to put it by supplier, and we want it ascending, so we'll leave that. Click Next. We're told that we should leave it as tabular and leave it as portrait. Click Next. And as for styles, let's just choose something a bit different. Let's choose equity. That's got a nice color. Click Next. And the report name, don't forget to make this something meaningful. I'm just going to call this stock report. Click Finish. Alright, so here's the stock report. Now, it's good, it's given us all the information. However, you'll notice that some of the fields don't fit in very well. You know, contact person has clearly too much information, same with the phone number, supplier's terribly short, and so is description. So, we'll have to make some changes. First of all, let's close this print preview. And unlike last time, when we were running making changes to the query, we went into design view. When we're running a report, it's actually more suitable to go into layout view. This allows us to make changes a lot easier. So, first things first, let's just expand all these fields so that we can see everything. Okay. Suppliers fixed. Description, that's a good size. Stock, I'll have to make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Special order, only slightly bigger. Contact person, we can considerably shrink. Same with the phone number. And maybe email address as well. Okay, now you'll notice that it has dropped back to one page, which is perfect. Any other changes we need to make? Well, we've adjusted the column size, special order. Okay, we should probably center that. In this case, we don't want to center the actual heading, we want to center the data. So select the data, it'll highlight all those fields, and click center. I'm going to do the same with stock. It doesn't actually tell us to do that, but it looks better, I think. It's also telling us to change the report style or design, okay, from whatever we chose to something called opulent. So just go up here into the formats, click on this drop down, and we'll find opulent. Now these are all in alphabetical order, so it should be easy to find. There we go. Now that's good, so it looks a little bit different. However, you'll notice that we seem to have lost the heading. Now I imagine that's because it's probably a bad color, so it does tell us to change the coloring. I'm just going to choose something that sort of looks suitable to the actual color. Does red look alright? Look, let's just choose red in this case. And we should also center this. So let's just click here and drag this all the way across the length of the form. Okay, and then we'll just center this. So this is starting to look a lot better. So we've got a good type of theme or style. We can see all the information. We've centered some of the stuff here. Brilliant. And it's back onto one page. The only thing we're told to do now is to change the margin size. So just go to page setup here, and there's an option here for margins. Now we're set to narrow. We should set it to normal. And you'll notice now that it's gone back over to 2 pages. That's okay. We'll just drag this back, and this one here as well. Just click refresh sometimes if some things don't change the way you think they should, and that can be found in the home option. Just make any little final adjustments, but I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now that we've done that, it tells us to go to print preview, close the report window, and save any changes. So we're happy with this. Let's just close the report window. It'll prompt us to save the changes. We'll click yes. We'll close all this. Now, it's telling us to compact and repair the database and then create a backup. So all this is generally done through the Office button up here and under the Manage option. So if we want to compact and repair the database, this will just make the database run more efficiently. Okay, so we'll just select this, and it looks like nothing's been done, but it's probably just tidied up any of the issues that may have occurred with the database. For this database, probably not so important, but you could imagine for larger databases with lots of relationships, it's probably going to be more useful. Okay, and once we've done that, it's probably a good idea to back it up. So go to Manage again and select Backup. Okay, this gives us an option to back up the original file. It keeps the original file name and the date the backup was done. Just click Save. And that's it. We're now asked to click on the Office button and exit access. Okay, well, I do hope that that has helped you out. If you have any questions, please do ask me in class or send me an email. All right, have a good day and good luck.